Hello, everyone, to a rather impromptu discussion. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
What's up?
I know this is not our usual place to post these, and it's not our usual format that we like to do, but something happened that was so big that we thought we would jump on a call together afterwards just to geek out about it a little bit, I guess, right?
Yeah, we're starting 4 new Tales of Aneria games, right?
Yes, each one
all DM'd by Courtney.
We're all going full. Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah. No, so thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I am Corey, the DM for Tales of Aneria. To my left is Scott, who plays Bolt on the show. Right beneath is Mr. Rogers, who plays Ezra and Ezra. And sometimes Ixburn, depending.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And then kind of kitty corner from me is Preston, who handles Victor and his wonderful self. And we just wanted to kind of get together and talk about D&D Direct 2022, the first D&D Direct. And yeah, a lot of cool stuff came out of it.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, and I am very excited to get into it.
We're going to get some space liches.
Oh, yeah. In fact, you may have seen one on the screen just before this. We'll post one up on the screen when we talk about it as well, just because I like to throw up the pictures. I think they're cool. Just so everybody knows, this isn't because this isn't the D&D Optimized channel. We're not really going to go into like the nitty gritty on what everything is, what all of the different I guess like what all the different abilities do and spells or anything like that we know about. You can go check out the sliding into my DMs that we did for the Spelljammer and the Dragonlance stuff. Basically the Unearthed Arcana up there. Yep.
Right there.
We'll post some cards there so you can go check them out and see what our opinions are on the individual power levels of the races as we know them now. This is just a discussion about the cool new settings coming out and what we think of them.
Yeah.
And I think we should start by talking about the big ticket item. I don't know.
The big one.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
so
Space.
big. It is space. It's literally that big. It's so big that they literally started with it. They didn't even be like, "Hey, welcome to Direct" before they even showed this trailer. And I think
Spelljammers.
yeah, so awesome. We're getting the Spelljammer settings coming back in the form of Spelljammer Adventures in Space, which is a 3-book
3 books.
set. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're only 64 pages long, so they're not 200-page books or anything. But still, that's still a decent
That's a
chunk
lot
of
of
content.
reading.
Chunk.
And it all comes in like a nice slip case with a DM screen and a big double-sided wall poster board.
And one of those sides, I believe, is Brol Rock, I think is what they call it, or yeah, it's basically
That's
giant
the
asteroid city. Yeah, that is a mainstay for the Spelljammer. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about it. So first, we've got the campaign setting, which kind of gives DMs and players character options. It's got everything you need to know about running an Astral Sea game or a Wild Space game if you prefer to just run it in Wild Space and not go into the Astral Sea. They're kind of interchanging the two of them, so I call it whatever you want. And
There's six new races.
Oh yeah, I did want to get everybody's opinion on what they thought of the new races aesthetically. Like I said, we've talked about the mechanics of them before, but they showed off some art for them. So what does everybody think? Like, what's your favorite race that got shown?
I want to be an elf with starry eyes.
I know, it's like Eldar. It's like a Warhammer
So
40k Eldar, in my opinion. Like, they look so good.
The Astral Elves. They're like they left the Feywild and like went into space and went into wild space and
They got
are now
bored
doing
with
their
elf
thing.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when you're that old and you're immortal, like why not, right?
Gotta find new digs, new places.
Personally, I'm excited for the auto gnomes. I'm a huge mech fan, construct fan, as anybody who knows me knows. But I think they look really cool, and I'm all for adding a little bit of extra gnome to my life.
Apparently, they're built gnome tough. That's what Chris Perkins said. So
whatever that means.
Like a
Tough
rock.
no more.
Yep.
Like a rock.
Like a rock. Like metal. What about you, Preston? I'm sure I have a theory on what I think your favorite race out of the 6 that were revealed, but I want to see if I guess it correctly.
Well, honestly, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do Eldar as well. Like as far as the go and make it a space race, make it a.
We can't call it Eldar, guys.
No, we can't.
Astral Elves. No.
Astral
Games
Elves.
Workshop is going to be all over everyone if they start calling it Eldar.
I'm just remembering my my elf character from Strahd.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, I just want to take him to space now, and just retroactively, he's a space elf instead.
So
Yeah.
He's so fun.
maybe who knows? Maybe Ezra retires and we bring back Space Elf.
Hey, that's fine.
Another classic.
Ezra had a good run.
Yeah, he
Right.
his stuff's complete. He's done.
He's done. His arc's over.
Bolt is gonna open up like an Iron Man suit, and a GIF is gonna come flopping out and be like, or a plasmoid and be like, I was controlling it the whole time.
Well, I thought you were gonna pick Hadozi, Preston. Personally, I thought
so too.
I looked at the Hadozi and I'm like, this is a Preston
Yeah, they're
race
pretty
through
cool.
and through.
That's exactly what I thought too. So that must say something about Preston.
What? I have like a type of like weird race. Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I do typically.
Scott, what about you? Is it plasmoids or is it GIF? Which it is pronounced GIF. I don't care what anybody else says.
As much as I love the GIF hippo people, I have to go with plasmoids. There's just something really fun about being an ooze and being like a jelly and being able to like choose your color and fit through cracks in the walls and things like that. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of fun.
Well, and it makes sense too, especially since we did some of those Unearthed Arcanas, and we were starting to be like, hey, we're starting to notice here they're talking about oozes and other things as like your lineage. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah. I was
more
glad
official
they
races.
finally brought in a ooze-like race, and I was wondering how they were going to implement that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if the Unearthed Arcana is going to be the official, or if they've changed
Probably
anything.
not.
Probably not. Yeah.
It
I
usually
hope they changed
changes.
them. I hope they did because there's a lot of broken stuff.
I really like all the artwork for them too. They all look really cool.
Yeah,
All the races.
The Thri-Kreen look really cool. Actually, the art for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
The Thri-Kreen are one of those races that I know from 4th edition because I was listening to like a Dark Sun. It was the Acquisitions Incorporated Dark Sun short that they did, and they're a really cool race that I guess like make their own weapons out of amber, which I think is just kind of like one of those cool things. But then like to learn that they have telepathy and that they have
Color changing carapaces so they can stealth and stuff.
I think,
It's really cool.
I think
Insect people.
if I were to make a Thri-Kreen, I'd make a Psi Knife or a Psychic Fighter. What was the Echo Knight, or was it the Echo Knight? Was that what you played?
There's the Echo Knight. There's the Psi Warrior.
Psi Warrior.
I think is the one you're thinking of. Yeah. It's the fighter subclass.
Yeah.
Now, would you name it Scyther or would you name it
I name my characters non-hilarious things. Thank you very much.
Kha'Zix? You can name Kha'Zix from League of Legends.
I would name him.
Roach.
Yeah. We'll just call him Roach.
What's the guy's name from Men in Black?
Edgar.
Oh,
Yes.
Edgar.
Edgar Roach. That's the official thing. Also, coming with this set is new backgrounds, which whatever, backgrounds are backgrounds unless it's on Dragonlance, apparently, according to Unearthed Arcana. But and then they are also doing new spells and magic items, which I can't wait for. I love seeing new magic items, and I love seeing what types of new spells can be associated specifically with the Astral Sea.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we talk about the most fun book out of all three of them, though, in my opinion? New Monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Boo's Astral Menagerie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This can be cool.
Yeah.
Boo, of course, the giant space hamster.
The miniature giant space
Miniature giant
Yeah,
space.
there-
That's right.
because there are giant space hamsters
right.
in this book, along with like space vampires and
No, they're vampirates.
vampirates.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're pirates, yes.
Excuse me.
I'm not making it up.
Yeah.
This is literally the thing. The most horrifying, though, space clowns.
Mm-hmm.
If you see
why?
holy cow, yeah.
Nobody asked for that.
No,
What's
nobody
asteroid?
wants it.
The one that really made me
Asteroid
chuckle, the one that really made me chuckle was Murder Comet.
Murder comments.
A Murder Comet. Yep. I don't know why this is great.
DM's tired of the campaign. Murder.
That Murder Comet just right through the
Ultimate
ship.
rock fall. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a Final Fantasy ending. Everyone just calls Meteora.
And then new dragons, solar and lunar ones, plus probably some more. They didn't show though.
yes.
Yeah, always
So
down
cool.
for some new dragons. And if you want a taste of these monsters. They also announced the what is it called?
Monsters Companion Volume 1 Spelljammer
Monsters
Creatures.
Compendium.
Yes, yeah, the Monsters Companion, which was an old second edition like loose leaf binder of monsters that you could like pull out the individual monster and have the paper for it rather than just having the book in front of you. But they just released 10 free Astral Sea based monsters, including the asteroid spider, which is terrifying.
Clockwork Horror.
It's a 10-legged spider.
I was gonna say with the Clockwork Horror, that's pretty exciting because it reminds me a lot of like the Cylons, or not Cylons, well Cylons, but the from Doctor Who you had the Cybermen who would go around and they just replicate. You know, that's like their main directive, no matter what, is just to replicate. And
Yeah, don't they have like? Didn't I see like they have big spikes on their hands and like bladed heads and stuff?
Their whole thing is like to go and eat ships and tear them apart to get more parts to make more of themselves.
Ooh,
That's pretty cool.
They can also attune to spelljamming helms, which is something that I'm sure will be cool in the future. Oh, I guess we should probably talk about that from the campaign book too. We're getting full rules for like spelljamming and these spelljamming ships and everything, which, you know, we've never really done like airship central stuff in D&D before. They've had them, but it's never been like a...
Right, it's always been third party or something. Yeah,
or not a primary focus of the adventure or of the each one of the episodes.
And like with some of the other ones, I guess if we're just kind of breezing through them, the one I think that is my favorite of all those creatures was the Eldritch Lich. Oh yeah, because liches are cool. Like, and a lot of people think, oh well, lich is cool because they have an internal life or whatever else. But no, like they have this untapped power they've gained, where you know they have these high level spells that you can't attain in the mortal coil kind of thing. And then this is mixed with, instead of having to have some phylactery elsewhere that they have to go and tie themselves to, there's this slug parasite inside them that just regenerates them after they die.
Oh, geez.
Unless, you know, certain conditions are met, and no spoilers, but they're pretty cool looking. Like, I think they're pretty sick.
Yeah, well, liches are cool, but liches in space are even cooler, right?
I think this is going to give us the opportunity to live out our Guardians of the Galaxy fantasies here.
And speaking of, they announced a Legends of the Multiverse play series that they're doing on starting April 27th, 5 p.m. on Twitch and YouTube, and it has a whole bunch of big names in it: Deborah Wool, Brenda Lee Mulligan, Aneria Iyengar, Ginny D, Sungwon Chow, a whole bunch, and a whole bunch of others. So it's probably not going to be all the same game, but it'll be a bunch of multi-episode things or one-shot episodes where they're kind of all in the same universe.
Not that there's any other actual play that you should be watching. But if you want to, that one looks...
Let's just throw a card just for the sake of it. Tales of Aneria!
Boom! Wait, wrong side. Boom!
You can check in the description below, too.
That's our latest episode.
It's good. And then the other thing that we're getting is a 12-episode D&D adventure for characters 5th to 8th level, which is insane that there's 12 different episodes for 3 levels as far as adventures go.
And that's the third book, Light of Xerxes, I think is how they said it.
Xerxes? Yeah.
And that looks like they said that there were going to be a lot of cliffhangers at the end of each chapter, which is awesome. I know
somehow it'll all come together in the end.
But if you are excited about Spelljammer, like I know we are, they have a prequel adventure coming out that's releasing in July before the official release in August. August 16th is when the book comes out, or the set comes out. But you can go ahead and you can basically download this adventure as long as you have a Wizard account, and it will allow...
Which I'm assuming is also a D&D Beyond account these days?
They are still separate.
I think, right?
Because later on in the Direct, they talked about being able to get access to certain things, and they said specifically for that thing that they talked about, Wizards or a D&D Beyond account.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they probably will have available for both.
It won't. So, it's not hard to get a Wizards account.
Yeah, it's all free.
In fact, I think you might need to connect a Wizards account sometimes to D&D Beyond.
Possibly.
I thought
it's been a while.
But anyway,
I think you can. I think it's an option, but I don't know if it's required. So,
but go check that out. I kind of feel like I want to try it and do the one shot and see how it feels. I know out of all of us, Dallin, you are probably the least, the one that I know that likes kind of the sci-fi and fantasy the least. So, despite being the biggest Star Wars fan here.
Yeah, which is funny. Yeah. No, I think this will be good for D&D. I think you can't just go fantasy over and over. You got to refresh. And this is sci-fi, but it's like 75% fantasy, right? This is not like a hard sci-fi or anything. This is like fantasy. The setting is just space with now cool creatures and whatever. So I think for someone like me, that's a little bit easier to digest and get into. And who knows? Maybe it opens the doors and I end up liking sci-fi more.
But it's a good thing to have a big, broad spectrum of stuff that new players can get into, whether it's the sci-fi-esque stuff or fantasy or like the horror stuff, gothic horror stuff like Strahd and things like that. Yeah. To have that big swath of things that everyone can kind of be like, ooh, I like this, I like this, but we're all still
and I think
umbrella.
I think it makes it that accessibility, like you said, because then it's not like, oh, there's that added pressure of now I got to learn a new system or how this works, or like, okay, how does the combat system work, or how do these dice work? Makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
Some cool stuff coming there. And if you are interested in fantasy, rather than this sci-fi fantasy, they do have another book coming out. They fully announced at the end of the program today, before, again, just cutting completely, not even saying, like, that's all we have for the direct. They're just like, that's it. They are announced Dragonlance with a cool little trailer, and that's coming late 2022, if I remember correctly.
Well, if they're going to do that, they got to leave on a mic drop, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I get it.
And the trailer was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really cool trailer.
Yeah. The narrator is Shorey Agdashlu. And
wasn't she from Arcane? Wasn't she the cop?
Yes, she was the cop in Arcane. She's been in The Expanse, Christian Avasarala. She's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. It was great to hear her on screen.
The first place I ever saw her was X-Men 3. She gets killed by the guy with the spiky face, or the spikes that come out of his body. She's the scientist lady. She's not in it much, but I remembered her because I'm like, that voice is so distinct.
Yes, she's an admiral in Star Trek Beyond as well, and that one was the one that jumps out to me every time.
Yeah,
that's not the only book that they're releasing though. There is another one called Journey Through the Radiant Citadel.
Oh, right.
And it has 13 new adventures by new writers, and they've all created like 15 different new locations. It covers levels 1 through 14, a whole bunch of new things that everyone gets to experience. I don't think there's any new classes or anything. Yeah.
What's cool is the writers got to bring in the lore and the history from their own cultures. Mm-hmm. So it's like a really grounded, like real fantasy. So it's
the
really
one that
cool.
Stuck out.
They showed the like Day of the Dead-esque one, and that was so cool.
Yeah, that's the one that stuck out to me.
For that.
Yeah, I love it when you take that real world stuff that you can relate to, and then you mix it with that new and that fresh, and has that feeling of familiarity despite being. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they were talking about in that book how it's going to be, not only are there 15 different realms that everybody can go to, but there's also supposedly like 12 locked realms that are listed in this this world that they created, which is a giant shard floating in the astral sea. To relate to Spelljammer again, but you can basically plug it into any of your worlds if you want, and you can have this grand new place and a bunch of new realms to explore for your campaign if you want to inject something cool into it.
Yep.
It's screaming like Mass Effect to me, probably just because of the Citadel. But I'm like, this is cool. It's like a hub, and then you just jump everywhere else, and that just sounds so cool.
Yeah, kind of like what's the school called? Strixhaven.
Strixhaven?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like Strixhaven being like that mecca or that hub of like different places in the multiverse.
Yep. And again, it's like I like this whole, we're going to give you an adventure with a campaign setting that you can specifically be in, and we're also going to give you books that are drop and play. Just put in where you need to if you want to, that kind of thing. Which I think it makes it really cool, and it's great for anybody trying to run a game if they're just like, I don't really know what to do tonight. Let's grab a one shot from the Citadel. And just run that in kind of this little, portal leads you to this place kind of thing.
Yep.
Right. And they teased a cool looking new monster too, the Whistler.
Oh yeah, which is
just looks creepy.
That's my paralysis demon come to life.
Right.
And of course, they actually they did reveal a little bit before about this set where they showed off these kind of ancients that live inside the Citadel, and they're these beasts that are made of like shards of crystal and whatnot, and they showed those off again, and I think they all look really cool as well. So beyond that, it wasn't all good news, I would say. There's one bit of bad news, and that was the update to Baldur's Gate 3 that they announced at Direct, where they did their little skit thing, which is fine, whatever. It wasn't that I thought it was fun, but it wasn't amazing or anything like that.
Yeah,
just come out and say it. Delayed once again.
Mm-hmm. A whole nother year.
Hey, I would rather have it delay over and over again instead of give me Cyberpunk.
I'd say with any AAA game these days, I feel like that is the biggest disease that we have, is that, okay, let it out now, we'll patch it later.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I've been playing the early access for, a year now, since it's come out, and it, as just an early access game, is better than most fully released games I've played. So they're paying a lot of attention. I just think there's so much that they have to account for, each class, each potential. Okay, here's a success, here's a fail. Now how does that branch? Right, and so the web of the story is just so large that it's just taking time. But what they do have is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
The only issue that I am having with it is not that it's delayed because I can wait for a game. It's that it's in early access and delayed, because I feel like, because I want to play it and I want to stream it and I want to record it and show it off so that like I can have my own adventure that people can join me on. But it's like, by the time it comes out, everybody's going to know everything from early access, and I'm going to be way behind the curve.
Mystery to it.
Luckily, they have only released the first act in early access. So you basically just get the same part of the game. Everyone has the first act or whatever. And every time they release an update, it wipes out your save completely. So if you want to see the new stuff, you got to start over. So I don't think there's actually that many people who are. I'm sure there's a few thousand, but I doubt there's that many people who have seen everything that this game has to offer already.
Yeah, and it's like Dragon Age as well, like where you can play it through 7 or 8 times, and you'll get it's the same like key points and stuff in there, but like you can get a different result every time and different characters and like, one of them go in as a charisma based or go in one of them that's more dex based, and I've really enjoyed that portion of it because it doesn't feel the same each time you run through it.
Right. And then even just each individual class has such a unique gameplay to it. Like the Druid is so different from the Warlock in that game, right? So nothing feels samey. So you can just keep playing. The last one they released was that Barbarian? Was that the last one they released? I think so. It's been a minute since I've gone back to it. The last patch I played was the Druid one. So I think they've done a Barbarian. I want to say the Sorcerer on the horizon, or maybe it was teased or something. So I thought they're getting there.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, it might already.
That alleviates the fear a little bit. I don't really like. I always worry about early access games because I'm like, by the time it comes out, I could have already played it 10 times over. So if they're only releasing one part of it, that does mean that's a little bit nicer.
It leaves a little bit more to be wanted for the full game.
Mm-hmm. And then there is one more thing that we have to wait until next year for, and that is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which is the Dungeons and Dragons movie that's coming out.
Yep. We're gonna get a review from Dallin right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dallin, you're gonna review it right away, right?
Oh yeah, I'll see it. I'll see it early and review it. Yeah, for sure.
It stinks. It stinks.
It's gonna be so good and bad.
Yeah,
it's just how it is.
Hopefully so, because I think that, to me, that's a little bit of the charm and the allure of the some of the D&D movies, is how bad they are. But
yeah, I think they did show off one like image in the background. I don't know if anybody saw it when I guess the director and the writer probably don't know, but they were showing off, like, there was an image in the background that looked like either concept art or actual render of a Waterdeep, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
considering what we're talking about. So,
because this is with Chris Pine, right?
he's the lead. Chris Pine is the lead. But I don't know that we know much else.
Justice Smith, Jason Wong, Michelle Rodriguez is in it.
They got a pretty good cast.
Hugh Grant.
Pretty good. Yeah, they've got
Hugh Grant is the villain. I remember reading that. He's playing the villain.
He plays the good villain always.
And then the rest of the actors look familiar. I can't place them exactly where I've seen them.
That person.
Yeah.
You hear their voice like, oh yeah. Hopefully we get a Darkness Rising too.
I still need to see that. It's on my list to see.
To me, that's ultimately where I got, because I was never aware, or I guess in the places I was, it was never a thing that bards were like the overly sexualized, whatever. It wasn't until I watched Darkness Rising that I was like, okay, I get where people are coming from. Like
that's where people.
It seems to be the trope where it was perpetuated.
Yeah, I think with bards, it's just that sort of like, oh, they're a charisma-based class. They must be sexual in some way, right? Oh my gosh, is Chris Pine playing a bard? And he's going to sing Agony again? Agony! I want
on a waterfall.
Yep.
if they're being safe, he's going to just be a human fighter.
Yep.
Yeah, or a rogue or something, right?
Fighter. Well, I mean, it is honor among thieves. So
you know what?
At least
he's just Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk got taken to a planet where it's all D&D. It's the Sword Coast and Forgotten Realms, and he has to blend in order to not corrupt the society, right?
Simon Pegg is the bard then.
Yes, Simon Pegg is definitely the bard. Yeah. We know.
Spock's the bard, but he's terrible at it. He can play his little lute thing, but that's about it.
Yeah.
He brings a theremin.
Yeah.
I know I'm mixing generations here, but don't bring that loot around Worf. There's a few other little small things. WizKids announced some miniatures for Spelljammer, which was really cool. They said that they were going to be doing modular ones that are like 2-in-1, so you can get like a mounted version and a non-mounted, kind of interchangeable there.
Hamster, cool.
That they announced a token pack that D&D is coming out with, which I think is kind of cool. It's got these peel in place. It uses
like window clings instead of stickers, so they're reusable. So they have a set amount of tokens, and you can peel the clings off, put them on, and they don't actually have sticky stuff.
I've never heard of something that says reusable. That is this specific type of thing, and that is actually reusable for long. So we will see.
Use 10 times.
Yes.
I mean, hey, who knows? If you have your mat and then put a piece of glass over it and use like whiteboard marker or something. I don't know.
Well, and that's another thing that's coming out is they're doing a terrain pack as well. That does have kind of a smooth surface, and they're doing the same thing. They're doing the clings, and clings are not actually sticky. They're just a plastic. Think of like a shower curtain liner kind of thing with PVC plastic, and they stick to really smooth surfaces really well. And then you can peel them off and reuse them all. Yep.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know that we have a lot of like terrain that we already use, but I saw the tile ones and I was like, ooh.
Double-sided interlocking, cool stuff.
Yeah. And they have a new starter kit, right?
Oh yes, they're brand new adventure about what was the adventure called? Something in the Dragon Isles or something like that.
I don't remember,
but I've run somebody through the existing starter kit, and it's pretty good. But I'm excited to see what they do with it to make the onboarding even more easier.
When you say
I think
you're referring to the one with Cryanbane, right?
Yeah.
Dragon? Okay.
Yep.
Not the first starter kit.
Not the Lost Mines of Phandelver, the one after that, yeah. And it does a pretty good job of getting everyone up to speed, so I'm excited to see what they do with this new iteration. Because, the more people we can get, into D&D, the better for us.
And that includes...
That's called Dragons of Stormwreck Isle.
Stormwreck Isle. I knew Isle was in there, sorry. World of Warcraft announced their Dragon Isles, or Dragonflight expansion yesterday. And so it's just like everything dragon in my brain right now.
Dragon.
That's normal. That's 24/7 for Corey.
Yeah.
Dragon Rain.
What I liked is that they're including like the new kind of streamlined rules probably for character creation, where it's you pick your race, but that doesn't determine your attributes kind of thing that they've been going towards lately. So that should be pretty cool as well. They also announced an Everwinter thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have ever really played it much, and
I used to play it, but it was, I don't know. That was many, many years ago.
Now you play Baldur's Gate instead. No, if you're going to pick a D&D style franchise, pick the one from D&D.
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't had one other than Baldur's Gate is probably going to be the first one that's going to probably capture my attention, aside from the classic Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah.
Because with the new ones, like I'm not into the mobile games. I'm not into any kind of the other ones. So we'll see.
But it was a really cool showing. A lot of cool art in there. I like these little 20-minute formats where they don't go into a big long explanation about one thing. They just kind of go, here's a trailer for this. It's coming out here. It'll include this, and then move on. Like 2-minute stuff. So good job for them, kind of taking the Nintendo.
There was one thing that kind of I thought was interesting. It almost sounded like, and I could be like way off base, but it almost sounded like they have their own D&D version of Warhammer. They have this like miniature combat game,
tactical miniatures game.
Yeah, and I'm like, this sounds like D&D's version of Warhammer. So I'm curious to see what that one's like.
And we've had a few like that over the years, like Wing Assault or whatever was
X-Wing.
Well, so X-Wing, it was a version of X-Wing Assault basically that was D&D related, and it had like dragons and griffins and then like ground troops and everything included in it. So it's not. I'm curious to see if it's going to be one of these like you can customize your miniatures like Warhammer is, or if they're just going to go with here's a troll. He's a troll. This is all that can be a troll kind of.
Yeah.
I can't have my Space Marine troll.
Yeah, no.
There was a couple. Look, they announced a couple different factions, and then of course they had a whole bunch of extra minis they showed off for like the monsters in the dungeon type of a thing. Whatever the goal is, whether it's I don't know if it's competitive or if it's like team play towards a certain goal, or if it can be either or.
Who makes Warhammer now? Because again, I've watched
Games Workshop.
But I've never Games Workshop. Okay, and who are they owned by? Are they
Games Workshop.
They are.
They don't have a parent company.
I was curious if it had anything to do with because didn't D&D Beyond or not? I'm sorry, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro.
They split off.
They split off from each other.
Oh, I didn't know that Wizards split off from Hasbro.
They're their own thing.
Okay, cool. I'm behind on my D&D.
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering is I didn't know if Hasbro owned a proper intellectual property that they were trying to compete with or.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no,
it's interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's about it. Is there anything that I missed? I'm pretty sure I'm good.
I don't think so. I think that's everything.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Look through the notes here.
I really appreciate you jumping on a call like immediately after this happened, or as close as we could to it, because I got something up my butt that I was like, hey, we need to talk about this. Oh, that's just the lawful good paladin stick. Never mind. We're good there.
I mean, we have these discussions regardless. It's just we got it on film.
Exactly.
Yep.
But thank you for joining, everybody. We really appreciate the support. If you want to check out our Tales of Aneria proper videos, it's a live play that we do and release every Wednesday. We are up to just about 40 episodes plus a couple one-shots in there, and the party just hit level 10, and it's very exciting stuff. So
don't forget, we've got merch, we've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got hold on, Dylan, I'm not as good at this as you. We've got stickers, we've got cups, we've got not panties, not underwear.
So far it's just logos, but we have some fun things that we're kind of working on. Hopefully we'll get something new out to you soon, because there's a lot of cool ideas that we have in our head that we just want to get out to the world. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Thank you, Dallin. Thank you, Preston. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate you guys joining me, and everybody have a wonderful day, and I guess roll with advantage.
Come here, baby. Come say hi. If you're gonna be annoying, at least be in the frame. You say hi.
At least be annoying on camera.
Yeah, where we can get it for content.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna be adorable, and then
we can just have a now waiting symbol, and the cat's just chilling on the chair.